I'm the main show.
You are, okay. We were waiting patiently.
I have a 15-minute presentation.
Well,
so you said you don't want to give me time. I have enough people here. Raise your hand if you want to give me your time. So you tell me whether I can speak.
Will you promise me 15 minutes?
15 minutes.
Okay, I'll give you 15 minutes. And he brings charts. Is that your phone number? You're going to give us your name and address, but you're posting your phone number.
I give you my permission, and I give you too.
Okay. So go ahead and state your name and address for those of us that aren't aware of you.
My name is Bradley Beck. I live at Crown Point, 43B.
B-E-C-K, if I'm right.
The title of my presentation today is The Last Resort. That comes from Hotel California. As I don't believe in violence of any kind, contrary to those who chose that route on January 6th, I reference the First Amendment to the Constitution for the justification for this speech. From a 1936 re-election speech by FDR. We had to struggle with the old enemies of peace: business and financial monopoly, speculation, reckless banking, class antagonism, sectionalism, war profiteering. They had begun to consider the government of the United States as a mere appendage to their own affairs. We now know that government by organized money is just as dangerous as government by organized mob. Never before in all our history have these forces been so united against one candidate as they stand today. They are unanimous in their hate for me, and I welcome their hatred. From a speech by the legendary civil rights advocate, John Lewis. Ours is not a struggle of one day, 1 week, or 1 year. Ours is not the struggle of one judicial appointment or presidential term. Ours is the struggle of a lifetime, or maybe even many lifetimes, and each one of us in every generation must do our part. As the Young Turks would say, change only happens when you speak truth to power. I am here today to, in the words of Mr. Lewis, get in good trouble, necessary trouble, and help redeem the soul of America. I want to begin by saying I apologize deeply to the residents of Laughlin and Crown Point for not doing this sooner, but prior to the worldwide pandemic we all just experienced, I was all about me, just like most people on this planet. But getting COVID last year brought me back to my core beliefs, and facing possible death, I realized I didn't want to meet my Creator without giving back to the planet I was blessed to grow up on. So you might say I had a religious experience that taught me that we've all lost our way. We should all be more caring of those less fortunate than ourselves and to our world, and if we all did this, the world would be a much better place. As the Beatles once said, in the end, the love you take is equal to the love you make. A chain is only as strong as its weakest link. After having a fairly bad experience with COVID last year, in late September, I had an issue with bed bugs. I was told by Crown Point that, due to me signing a bed bug addendum to my lease, I would have to have their company do the extermination. After 2 treatments and still getting bit, I called my own company and eventually sued Crown Point, giving substantial evidence to support my claim, along with other 15 pictures showing bites at various times throughout my ordeal. Your judge, Timothy Atkins, a former electronics salesman, wouldn't allow the pictures and said that if Crown Point said they got rid of my problem, then I was either lying or mistaken about the continuing problem, despite me having pictures with metadata showing when each picture was taken. He didn't even know what metadata is. A little background on myself. I'm a 54-year-old disabled veteran. My family can be traced back in this country to the 1600s, when they came here as indentured servants. They fought in the Revolutionary War, and some fought for the North and some for the South during the Civil War. My grandfather fought in Iwo Jima during World War II, and my dad was in Germany during the same war in 1945. I was raised in Arcadia, California, a middle-class suburb of Los Angeles now known as the Asian Beverly Hills. I was the poster boy for white privilege, but thanks to the Lord, I didn't get my inheritance. It went into a trust for my mentally ill brother, thus I was forced to make my own way in life. I joined the California National Guard, where I served for 10 honorable years, gained the rank of sergeant, Then when I became disabled, went to college, graduated with honors with a BS in geology and archaeology from Cal State Northridge and the University of Wyoming, along with being awarded the top graduating senior in my department. Then worked in the oil industry as a geologist during the last economic collapse and its aftermath. I learned to take it when they told me I couldn't buy a house and I'd have to settle for an apartment. I took it when they said I'd have to get 2 jobs, then 3. I took it when I became homeless for 2 weeks while waiting for unemployment to kick in 2015 when the oil industry tanked. I took it when they said it would be cheaper in Nevada. I even took it when I got screwed over by Crown Point and Judge Atkins regarding bedbugs. But to quote Peter Finch from the great movie Network, which I saw in the theater with my divorced dad the year of our bicentennial at the age of 9, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. Crown Point now wants to raise my rent 75% to $1,150 in July, despite others paying less and the Vistas charging $889 for a 1-bedroom right across the street. I want to know why I don't deserve to live in this town anymore, because now I don't even qualify for the apartment I'm living in with my income, let alone others who are less fortunate than myself and who are trying to exist on Social Security alone or who make a minimum wage. Since your website uses the phrase one board, one mission, that gives me the opportunity to refer to you all as one corrupt, uncaring non-human instead of 5. You people want to build a multi-million-dollar off-road racing complex while no affordable housing has been built in Laughlin since the 80s. When I heard the grandson of the old billionaire that started this town came up with the idea, I had to look it up just to see if the old boy was still kicking. And sure enough, the old billionaire is still alive. I'm sure Don Laughlin's version of trickle-down economics is pissing on all the poor people that walk below his multi-million-dollar suite at the top of the Riverside Hotel. Evidence of this is that his family just recently spent $22 million on a 4-month renovation of their hotel, the Riverside, which includes, I quote, every room has been practically gutted with wallpaper and popcorn ceilings and new texture and paint on walls. The rooms will have new carpet, new furniture, new mattresses, new pillows, new linens, new artwork, new TVs, and new refrigerators in every room. Where's my new carpet, my new blinds, my new refrigerator?
I gave you 15 minutes, but we need to be on the point of what this is about, because going after the founders of this community is not to the point.
To just 7% of the $316 million the Laughlin family made last year. Couldn't they have spent that on new amenities for the residents of Laughlin? Another 7% wouldn't break them, would it? Then you have Bob Bilbray, who owns the other half of this town. I'd love to tell you how he feels about the lack of affordable housing, but he won't return my calls. Now here's a 90-year-old billionaire that started this town. Then the town erected a statue to the guy that sits in the center of town. How come we don't get a cut of the billions he made off of the blood, sweat, and tears of the workers in Laughlin who made him wealthy like the residents of Alaska do for all the oil profits the state makes? According to the internet, the Riverside Hotel and Casino makes
Mr. Beck, again, Mr. Beck, you need to get to the point.
$2,133 per person for every man, woman, and child.
Mr. Beck, your time here is to help us understand the problem. I see what this is, and you're welcome to explain that as far as the 75% increase, but going after the people in this community is not helpful. Oh, I can take that time as well, sir.
Shout out to Representative Katie Porter for the use of the whiteboard. Let's do some basic math. Minimum wage in Nevada in a Laughlin family casino or Bilbray business is $9.75. It's written right there. For our purposes, let's use 10. That's $400 per week, $1,600 per month. If the basic rent is roughly $1,000 per month, and you need to have at least $2,500 or 2.5 times income for rent, how can you rent anywhere in Laughlin? Did you know Don wanted to call the town casino when it first started? I suggest we change the name to Greed, Nevada. Why bullshit? When the average Social Security payment is $1,500, again, how can you rent anywhere in Laughlin and have a decent quality of life? Is this not economic discrimination against the poor, disabled, working class, and veterans? According to Payscale.com, the average hourly rate in Laughlin, Nevada is $12.16 before taxes, even though the minimum wage is $9.75. The top 3 jobs are porter, $9.75, line cook, $11, and administrative assistant, $13, and security, $11, bartender, $8. I guess because of tips. Front desk, 10. Trends in wages actually decreased by 2.3% in the first quarter of 2021. The cost of living, on the other hand, increased by 9% and is higher than the national average. The most popular employer is the Riverside Casino. Go figure. So let's take someone who makes $12.16. The average wage in Laughlin. Not sure what that person does since all the above jobs are low. Let's assume it's an administrative assistant. That works out roughly to $1,835 per month. $1,800, we'll just round it up. Minus $1,000 for rent, you're left with $800. After paying $1,000 for rent, a conservative figure, you're left with $800. Utilities and phone, $200. Gas, $200. Food, $300. Insurance, $100. Internet and TV, since we don't have television access, $100. That leaves a big fat minus $100. How do you think people can survive on the poverty wages you, the Laughlin family, and Bilbray families pay your employees, let alone have a decent quality of life while you jet set around without a care in the world? From the U.S. Census Bureau's website, population of Laughlin in 2020, 7,502. Number of employees, 2,326. Number of veterans, 1,435, or 20% of Laughlin are veterans. Percent over 65, 42%. Building permits for affordable housing, 2020, 0. Percent people with disability under 65, 23%. Percent in poverty, 16%. That's 1 out of every 7 people. From your website, this is the new Laughlin Town Advisory Board, uniquely qualified to serve on the board. Every member brings their own substantial qualities, which include a very sincere desire to do what's best for the Laughlin family, the Bilbray family, and their descendants. Kathy Oakes, 1,807 votes. Yep, ex-cop, CEO of a franchise, landlord, and millionaire. Just the right qualifications to lead a town of mostly poor people. You say you're a Christian, and your quote is, proposing to take Laughlin forward into the future.
And then we stop.
Future for who? Stock market investors and billionaire gambling casino magnates? According to the government, you got 2 disbursements of the PPP program for your limited liability corporation, KBO.
Mr. Beck, your time is up. Mr. Beck, Mr. Beck, your time is up. Mr. Beck, I'm asking you to leave or Metro will forcibly remove you. Mr. Beck, this is enough. We're done.